To help us unpack the financial impact of stage 5 and 6 load shedding, we now speak to Bright Partley, the business accountant at Bright Planning. Bright, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us and a warm welcome to Prime News on 3.
Good evening, Simple. Thanks for having me.
This is not a new conversation we are having. We've been having this conversation for years, and nothing seems to help in terms of finding tangible solutions to this. But let's now diagnose, what seems to be the problem and what kind of implications this has had on the country's economy.
Wow, such a simple question, but yet the answer is quite multifaceted. I mean, just listening to your insert just now, the impact of load shedding is really vast. I mean, it has macro impact, local impact, a household impact, and really it's just making a bad situation worse with basically global inflation being experienced across the whole globe and South Africa itself having a less productive society in terms of GDP outlook and effectively hindering people's livelihoods. As part of the insert said that some people are, their routines are interrupted. So that just shows how devastating the impact of load shedding is. And from a financial impact point of view, you look at inflation, it's past the 6% CPI. And what we're looking at now is looking to be further worse because now it's, the usage of electricity is so vital to our economy from a small or large point of view.
Well, this energy threat holds the risk of obviously lower productivity and plant availability, slow progress on unbundling, which Eskom has punted, as one of the panaceas to solve the energy crisis. But with regards to the ongoing rolling blackouts, and then it threatens, of course, the fast tracking of unbundling Eskom into 3 different entities. So how do you feel about the unbundling of Eskom and with this load shedding, which is stifling progress in terms of such an unbundling?
The problem with the unbundling process, it's merely changing a tire or adding a spare tire into a car that's already, in a bad shape. What we need to be looking at now is definitely the introduction of renewable energy. South Africa prides itself in following international standards. And if one were to look at what's happening in Europe and the Americas, is a larger focus on renewable energy and intentional, fully financed solution. And right now, in terms of us looking in that direction, we are quite far away. And even from a legislative point of view, we do not have adequate support from a legislative point of view to support renewable solutions. Even though we are primed for solar, we have opportunities in terms of wind. We already have in Kuber Station the nuclear power plant or nuclear generation of electricity. And already that, it's such a long-standing power station. It's been, in operation for more than 20 years, but we have not expanded on that. In fact, we have stagnated. And therefore, to talk about unbundling, the main problem here is the source from where our electricity is generated. And this coal solution is really a dinosaur that we keep on reviving, rejuvenating, and coming with all sorts of plans. But unfortunately, the way we're going about it is just another patch, whereas we need a fully new system or solution to be introduced.
This has certainly thrown the government at a wit's end because so many jobs have been lost. Thousands and thousands of jobs have been lost as a result of the ongoing rolling blackout. Some companies were even forced to shut down, as we've reported in the package. Now, government has to balance between cushioning those people who lost their jobs and those companies which were forced to shut down, and also transitioning to cleaner energy, which could take billions of rand and could possibly take years. It's a tough balancing act, isn't it?
Extremely tough. And just looking at the scenario that you just laid out now, the minute we start looking to, invest in renewable energy, that's additional, billions that are needed. So therefore, this is a burden that's going to be pushed to the taxpayer. And with more people losing their jobs, and therefore the government in, its historical response, it will offer some sort of new grants. There's been talk of, universal-based income grant. All of these things are burdens that are going to be pushed over to a ever-shrinking taxpayer or taxpayer base, of which with less jobs being created, once again, it just shows that the solutions that we have currently, they are not adequate for the growing problem that we are facing. Government needs to focus on how it supports small businesses, because effectively they are the ones that suffer the most when it comes to load shedding, because they don't have funding to resolve and continue their production in moments like this. Whereas larger businesses, they will suffer a little bit of inconvenience and so forth, but they have the capital to be able to recover and use this opportunity to continue their business, and which at the end of this transfer of pains and everything is going to go to the men in the streets at the end of the day. So government needs to have a plan for small businesses, as well as making sure that everybody is in a better place to experience a better electricity system.
All right, Bright, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. That was Bright Patle, the business accountant at Bright Planning, just sharing with us his thoughts on the financial impact of load shedding on the country's economy.